Good morning. It's Harvey Jackson. Just going to go through Argentina suspending its export tax and the Canadian canola benefiting from the smoke in eastern provinces for sure. I'm not sure if everybody got the benefit, but it definitely looks like it may have, right? So Argentina suspends agro export tax to scoop up dollars. Now they're in a bit of a financial pinch. They're kind of backed by the World Bank, so there's lots of eyes on it, and they were getting into a bit of a financial squeeze there. So they put on a let's uh, uh, see if we can help out the economy a little bit here. So the degree published Monday suspends export taxes on soy, corn, wheat, and their byproducts, including biodiesel, and it's the last till the end of October. So that's why every one of these commodities are down pretty hard, or at least down and maybe making new lows, especially when it comes to wheat. So this significantly eases the tax burden for exports from the key sector, from a prior of 26% on soybeans, 24.5% on soybean oil, and meal at 9.5%, and meal and 9.5% on corn. It doesn't say whether it reduced on the wheat, but they are a grower of wheat, and they primarily export their wheat, usually to Brazil. But tax break could cause a rush of sales, and you'll see in this next article, China buyers have secured at least 10 cargoes of Argentina beans following the Buenos Aires decision to scrap the grain exports. To move that enhances the competitiveness of the Argentina soybeans and pressures the U.S. farmers. These shipments scheduled for November are typically dominated by U.S. exports, but are now influenced by the ongoing trade war between Washington and Beijing. The deals, which include Panamax-sized shipments of 65,000 metric tons each, are priced at a premium of the Chicago Board of Trade contract. Developments further impacts the U.S. farmers who are already facing the reduced sales to China. There's actually nothing in this fourth quarter. Argentina's temporary tax suspension lasts until October, and its exports are expected to reach $7 billion. That has driven the Chinese soy meal and soybean oil futures lower, but may only be short-lived. But we'll have to see if there's a Chinese deal can come into place here. So that's what's kind of pushing the market really in its erratic move there yesterday. Another news that I saw that I thought was interesting, and I would maybe take note of when the smoke came as well. It definitely came when the flower or the canola was flowering, but it also delayed things too. You need active sunshine to be able to get photosynthesis. So some of the delays in harvest that we're seeing, not just because of the last 2 weeks of rain, but everything seems to be wanting to stay green. So that's another, maybe the downside, but it definitely pushed up the flowering period. It stayed longer. But I'm an advocate that says drought in the early part of the growing season pushes those roots down, and that's where you get the bigger benefit of the yield. But argument would be that, hey, it definitely shielded us as well. So like, there's lots of good things here. So Darren Fester for the crop progress and planting progress here. So you can see that the there's good to excellent is actually down a little wee bit on the corn and soybeans. So that should be a bullish scenario, but I would say I look at the good to excellent rating as a visual thing, and as the crop starts to dry down, it's always looking poorer. Of course, the other part, spring wheat harvest is at 96%, right on par, but planting is maybe a little bit delayed as well. So here you got the corn harvest, and you can see what corn states are maybe dragging on a little wee bit or a little bit behind, and a lot of that's got to do with showers. But here's your planting progress, and it's 20 versus 23% of the 5-year average, and it's right there. That's the bullseye where the biggest concentration of planted acres are. Conab came out with some progress for sowing, and they're just starting their first crop, corn. Really haven't got anything done on soybeans, but getting started on the wheat here. So a quick look at the weather. This tells me that there's fog. When you're just looking at the radar, you can see that it's it's been like it's rained outside every night, and there's fog looming here. That would delay some of the planting progress for that winter wheat down there as well. Here's your active weather going out for another couple of days. You see that rain showers actually just move across the area. This is what I like to see is the abnormally dry, especially when it comes to harvest. And you can see that this here, I'm talking more on the lighter hues, and then you can see as we get farther and farther into the 2-week cycle here, you got moisture, higher humidity. Now, does that mean the forecast is right? Because I talk about it every day, and it changes every day. So, seeing as I'm talking about Argentina and Brazil, these are key areas where there's lots of planting, and looks like they're going to have some moisture just getting started to get some more planting done. So, canola is currently up a couple bucks to $3, and rapeseed is down. Soybean oil is slightly down as well, and your crude oil is up two-thirds of a buck. Soybeans down 5 cents, so it's hovering right around that $10.06 mark. Soybean meal is down as well. Spring wheat just holding on, so that complex seems to be holding on the best. And then you got your hard red winter and your Chicago wheat down a couple cents, and you're looking at the Canadian dollar down a little bit as well here. So if we just look at this trend, we've been respecting the downward channel pretty well. Right in the middle of the channel, expecting to get to the bottom end of the channel. We adjusted our sell stops just for that reason as well. So if you have a look at the rapeseed, it's at top end of the channel, but it did get some pressure going down there. So if we look at the overall complex, we're right at $152 differential between the rapeseed priced in Canadian dollars and the Canadian canola. Now, we do have to or what is going to result is you're going to find some sales that just because we're relatively cheap to the European canola or rapeseed, and but we also are getting quite cheap, and nobody wants to sell at these values, that's for sure. Soybean oil futures broke through its minor trend line, but now it's up against the 200-day moving average, and it looks like it's trading right at it. So if it breaks through there, it's very likely that we're getting down into those areas as well, and that's going to probably follow very similar kind of area for canola as well, that extra 20% lower. Here's your soybeans. Looks like we could be going back to that range here in the 9s if we continue to leak lower. Your meal looks like we're going back down into those values as well, the previous lows that we made. Likewise, your palm oil has broken its trend and trading right at some of the short, medium-term moving averages as well. Canadian dollar still looks like we're constantly doing this little wave analysis up and down here, so you can expect to maybe get back down closer to that 200-day moving average as well. Your US dollar down today. Now here's your Brazilian real as it's cheapening up. It's going to put in still favoring the export market. And the same thing with the Argentina peso. That big move down is actually just going to help its economy a little bit here. So spring wheat, we're back at the lows that we had back in the early part of September. But a lot of that's got to do with this Argentina story that we just came out with. But the Kansas City wheat market, the Chicago market, and your French wheat market all down. And you see the corn broke out of its little bit of an upward channel up against some of the 20-day moving averages, and looks like it could get supported by that downward trend line, and that could be a resistance point as well. And that's just where those averages are kind of pricing up. Live cattle jumped yesterday because of 45 or within 45 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border. There was a confirmed case of the screwworm, and that's given more life to this market. Same thing with the feeder cattle, of course, but didn't gap higher like the other one did. Hogs right at the top end of its channel, looking like it's getting some favor of some demand as well. And that's all I have for you today.